Hello everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. Now today I would like to talk to you about this stunning plant. This is a philodendron alatiundulatum. Now you might know that at this moment more or less 450 varieties of philodendron have been discovered or have been accepted. And until today, from time to time, new varieties are being discovered. Of these 450 varieties, I would say that more or less 50 are really well known or very popular. You see them on YouTube, you see them on social media. Everybody wants them, they are pushed by the market, etc., etc. But this means that over 400 philodendrons are actually less known, less popular, or perhaps even less available on the market for purchase. And what I would like to do on this channel is to talk from time to time about some of these lesser known philodendrons and put them a little bit in the spotlight that they deserve. But now let's get back to this beautiful plant. As I said, this is a philodendron alatiundulatum. Now, the name is Latin, obviously, and it comes from two words. The first word is ala, which means wing, and the second word is undulatum, which means ruffled. And if you look closely at the petioles of this plant, you will see that indeed on both sides of the petiole you see two wings that are growing attached to the petiole, and they are kind of ruffled. This is really a beautiful feature of this plant. The ruffles or the wings are now more or less green, but apparently as this plant matures, these ruffles or these wings can become brownish or purplish. But obviously this is still a relatively young plant, so at the moment it's still green. Now this plant comes from Ecuador and Colombia, from the tropical rainforests in those two countries. And if you look at the leaves, as many philodendrons, you will see that the leaves are actually heart-shaped and they are also veined. I hope you can see this with the light, but I think these two leaves give you a clear picture of what the leaves look like. What else? This plant is a climbing philodendron, so it's not a trailer, it's not a crawler, but it wants to go up, which means that probably sooner or later I will have to give this guy a moss pole or a stick or something to support his way up to the light. Now, as far as care is concerned, I must say I have this plant for a little bit over 7 months in my care. And when I got it, I put it in a chunky aroid mix in a transparent pot. And this chunky aroid mix contains perlite, cocoa coir, charcoal, bark, and also some small rocks. This is a typical mix that most philodendrons just love to grow in. Now, another part of the care is when you should water this plant. Now, my experience is that this is quite a thirsty plant, but perhaps that's due to the fact that it's growing at the moment in quite a small pot, which means that the mix, the aroid mix, dries out quite fastly, and I have to give him water quite often. I do try to let it dry out a little bit before I water him again, and I just check the weight of the pot to see whether he's ready to be watered again or not. As far as light is concerned, you will hear very often that philodendrons love bright indirect light. My experience is that it's perfectly happy under a grow light. So this guy has been growing all the time under a grow light, and since I got it, it has sprouted these two beautiful new leaves. Another issue, humidity. Obviously, since this plant is from the tropical rainforests, this plant loves humidity. Now, what do I do to obtain this level of humidity? First of all, I have a humidifier running constantly in this room, and that's obviously a big plus. I also try to group this plant together with other plants, and not only with other plants, but also with quite a few propagation vases filled with water in which I grow my cuttings. And of course, this water from the vases also evaporates and gives this plant a little bit more humidity. What I also do is I spray the leaves from time to time, and especially you might see that I covered the base of the plant with some sphagnum moss, and from time to time I also vaporize with water the base of the plant and the sphagnum moss that's surrounding it. Propagation, I don't have this plant long enough to have tried or dared to propagate this plant, to take a cutting, but if you look a little bit closer, you will see that here you have a very small aerial root. Here you have another one, and here you have another one. Which means that if ever I would like to propagate this plant, I would just cut it, for instance, here, or for instance here, just under these nodes that you can see here on the screen. But since it's still a young plant, so far I'm not thinking about cutting it up. I prefer to leave it the way it is and wait a little bit until it has grown a little bit bigger and taller. That's it for today's video about this beautiful philodendron. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you another time. Bye bye.